All right, Coach, it's been a little bit since we played last, but a dominating win at Murray against a rival. You guys set some records with your receivers. Dresser really had a big game. Defense played big. It was one of your more complete team efforts, probably. Just kind of rehash that a little bit before we move forward.
Sure. Yeah, very pleased to go on the road and get a conference win. And, the fourth quarter was really outstanding. And it did a lot of good things throughout the game. 691 yards total offense, ended up with 45 points. Get 5 turnovers on the game. So a lot of positive things. For 2 turnovers in the red zone, which has been uncharacteristics of it up to this point. So, that was unfortunate. Missed a field goal. So kind of kept the game close through halftime. But was pleased to see the kids grow from the standpoint of no panic and had a lot of confidence. The defense certainly did. The offense started making some better plays on some crucial down distances and in the red zone and put the game away. So very pleased with that. Good team effort and got us to the 3-0 in the conference, got us to the open week, and had a good week last week and move on to obviously a great opportunity this week.
Talk a little bit about it, and every year when schedules come out, Power Five, all the so-called talking heads, they look at the games and they look at the non-conference and they see UT Martin or whoever else, and they look at that and they tell these Power Fives because they don't need to be playing those kind of games. So from your standpoint, as an athletic department guy, as a program guy, as the head football coach, what does this game mean in all aspects, financially, to the players, to your team?
Well, great question, and I've talked about this for years. And there's several coaches I've had this conversation with, and of course when Jimbo Fisher's son played here, we had this conversation, and I appreciate his take on it, and we saw it in the same way. If you take away these games, one, obviously financially, this is, we played Boise State and now going into to play Knoxville this week. Financially, all the other non-revenue sports here on our campus, it provides them opportunities, and obviously it helps, our budget as well in the football program. So, if you took those games away and they went to the 10-game SEC or 10-game, FBS opportunities or Power 5 opportunities, you could possibly be eliminating opportunities at non-Power 5 or your mid-majors down, FCS. You could be eliminating opportunities that for guys to get scholarships to come play football. Maybe in high school, if there's not those opportunities to get a scholarship to go play college football, then maybe guys go turn and play other sports, and then before you know it, you look up over a 10-year period, you've got a lot less guys, playing football, and and all the opportunities and lessons that young men are able to learn and take back to their communities and become good husbands, and community members.
Several years ago, went to Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State was ranked #1 in the country. What lessons did you learn from that game in particular to get your team prepared to go play who many think should be the #1 team in the nation this week?
It was a great, Dak Prescott's, I think, junior year maybe. And they were I think they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And so, there was a lot of times throughout that game that I remember that our players competed really well. I don't even remember how we finished up that year, but what you do in these opportunities, like our players against Boise State, is that to play the best of their ability, to give them an opportunity to have success. That's kind of what I remember about that day. I remember Trent Garland, having a home run and busting a run and kind of flipping the field, and Dak Prescott had to. In the second half, was still having to run the ball for them to put the game away and stuff. So, a lot of players I actually see, if you watch NFL football, you'll see a lot of those players that were on the field that day for Mississippi State are still playing, in National Football League. So, I don't know, John, I don't know what lessons I learned or I remember from that. I don't even remember how we finished up that year. But there is some things that your team gets to compete in that kind of environment. So there's certainly opportunities for your team to grow.
Recruiting wise, it's probably a benefit to be able to say you're playing teams of this caliber, especially one in your own state too.
No, exactly, absolutely. You know, we recruit guys. You know, there's only so many spots at each place around the country, and there's more football players than there are spots. So once a spot gets taken, you know, what's your best opportunity as you go forward? So no, it is. It's you know, our guys would much rather be in this type of environment than, you know, going someplace that they've never heard of, or, you know, don't know the history of their program, or there's 20,000, you know, or less than that, people in the stadium. So no, great opportunity, especially for our Tennessee kids or kids in this, you know, from the Southeast. You know, I'm sure this is an opportunity they're looking forward to.
It's one of the few times that is in preparation, you're always watching film, but you were actually at the Tennessee game this past weekend against Alabama. What impressed you the most? Because there was a lot that impressed you about Tennessee and how they handled and managed that moment.
Well, you know, I was certainly just there as a dad and as a fan, but, you know, when you go back and watch the tape and you know, you put your, you know, you look at it from a X's and O's standpoint, you know, just the efficiency that they operate offensively, and, you know, being one of the top offense in the country, and their quarterback play and the receiver play, and the tempo with which they play with, and then the execution, and very impressed watching their offensive line, and that was certainly impressive on tape. You know, the last week we've been prepared, and then defensively, you know, great team speed, very multiple. You know, give you a lot of different looks. They really pressure the quarterback well. You know, they come up in coverage and multiple in their coverages and stuff. So, you know, just really doing some nice things, you know, on both sides of the ball.
How do you game plan for a game like this?
I mean, it's no different than anything else. Every week you go into a game and you say, what do we do well? You know, no matter who you're blocking or who you what do we do well? And what gives our players the best chance to be successful? And then this is based on how they line up. This is what we're good at, and this is what they're good at. And then so, you know, what gives you the best chance? I don't know a different way to be able to deviate from that.
What about communicating on the field? You was there firsthand and got a good look at what it feels like to be there in that kind of situation. And it being homecoming this week, how are you going to communicate, and your players going to communicate?
Yeah, well, you know, that's always you know, it's a home field advantage, you know, certainly. You know, there's certain standard things that you put into place in that type of environment. We didn't handle it very well at Boise State, and certainly that was only a third of you know, what the capacity of that stadium is. So hopefully we learned some lessons from that Boise State game, and that we'll do a better job this time.
How did you guys grow? What steps did you take over the bye week? Probably got a little bit more healthy and just worked on some different things.
Yeah, exactly. Just what you said. I don't think there was any specific thing that we did. You know, we said, okay, where are we deficient on offense? What's some things we need to improve on? What's some things that we're good at that we want to build upon? And the same way on defense. And then every day at the end of practice, a lot of your younger players got a lot of attention and a lot of opportunities. So no, I was pleased with it. And we only got to go 2 days. We had some bad weather one day, but made some strides in recruiting. A lot of guys got out and got across the state and some other places. So it was a good week.
Maybe not so much this week, but you're in the midst of a big non-conference stretch here, 3 straight non-conference games. Kind of how odd is that? But also, these next couple games are very important when it comes to trying to get an at-large bid or make your station better for a postseason bid.
No, exactly. I mean, it's this time of year. You know, it's a 5-game season. You look at it like that, and you know, with this week, you know, like I said, you're trying to keep growing as a team on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis, and then you get in those last 4 FCS opportunities, and 2 of them on the road and 2 of them are at home. So 2 of them are conference games, which kind of determines your fate when it comes to that. And so you're exactly right. It's the 5-game season. You know, how can we perform at a high level, stay healthy, if you have some injuries, they've developed some depth enough to where the next guy up can get an opportunity and play well. All those things will come into play for us these next 5 weeks.
Now, you mentioned recruiting, in the world that we're in today, how important is it to continue to play these bigger schools, to have an opportunity to make a bigger pond, so to speak, to fish out of, and put a good foot forward when you go play at Tennessee or something like that?
I definitely don't think it hurts us, for sure. I think it's an opportunity for us to, for our name to be, for the UT Martin brand or the logo to be seen. You're certainly right. It does create a conversation piece, for recruits. And so, that's, when you give the opportunities, you want to make the best of it. And so, but over the years, that's kind of been our philosophy, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Auburn, and wherever else we've been, Georgia, Georgia next year. So, I think if you ask our players, I think they'd probably say the same thing, that they're excited about it, looking forward to the opportunity. And, so I'm gonna hold them to that, and go prepare this week and play the best of your ability.